Hey guys, it's Savage, welcome back to the channel. And today, we're taking a look at the Supermarine Seafire. And yes, this is not the sea. This is Donegal Island. Why? Because this exists. Yeah. I will explain this later. So, of course, the Seafire is a navalised version of the Supermarine Spitfire, adapted for operation from carriers. Now, very similar to how the Sea Hurricane, worked, they added a tail hook, called it good, basically, added wing folding. And it's very much a manual wing fold here, no actual automatic systems in this. Yeah, basically Seafire, name of Sea Spitfire, simplification of names. Now, the Admiralty one was told they should probably update around 1938. Typical Admiralty, they didn't. And they went, of course, to war with some very antiquated aircraft, and which is why we took on the Bismarck with biplanes. Because that's how we roll. Either way, by 1941, they started working, or they got a hold of the first Mark 1B Seafire. And by 42, they had those operational, and they fought in Operation Torch in North Africa. We had the Allied invasion of Sicily, and the invasion of Italy in 43. And in 44, in Operation Dragoon in the south of France and the Normandy landings. And they actually took part in the later part of 44 onwards in the British Pacific Fleet. And they were very, very capable interceptor for the Japanese kamikaze. In fact, double meme on the kamikaze, British carriers had armoured flight decks. So when they hit the flight decks, nothing happened. Big whoops. Now, these served for the British Royal Navy, the French Navy, the Irish Air Corps as ground-based aircraft, and the Royal Canadian Navy. Now, the fun part about the Irish ones are 12 of them had their sea features basically taken off them and were sent to the Irish, given to the Irish after the war. So they had 12 of these, which is fun. Now, these also served in Korea as well, hundreds and hundreds of missions. Now, for a Mark III, we're looking at a Rolls-Royce Merlin or the Griffin, depending on the mark, with V12 engine, 1500 horsepower, a max speed of around 359 miles an hour, cruising at 272. Range is 465 miles, nautical, 404. Climbs to 36,000 feet, and time to altitude is 8.1 minutes to 20,000 feet. Two 20mm Hispano Mark IIs, four 303 Brownings, and two 250-pound bombs, or one 500. With that in mind, let's take a look at the aircraft. What do we get? We get, from Flight Replicas, as we go outside here, another Spitfire variant. Yes, they've released a few. The Mark 1s, the Mark 5s, the Tropical. Yeah, they're all very similar. I will say, texturing and detailing isn't bad at all. What's matte should be matte. Good care and attention has been given to wheel wells and to small details. Decaling is good. Texture resolution isn't that high, but what is there is accurate. And the modelling is good too. Although I can expect there's been some shared model parts going around. From their own aircraft, I should say. So, yes, including the square behind the Irish symbol. That is, the Irish roundel is actually a thing on those. Let's hop inside and take a look, shall we? Now, click spots that are relevant. We don't have the wing fold on this version, but it would be, let's say the tail hook is there. We do have the wing fold, and that is here. So the tail hook doesn't work on the Irish one, but you can't actually do it on the ground on any version, but it pops out basically there. Wing fold is manual. There's no hydraulics in this at all. Plus they're kept open with these braces, which are hooked onto the two various points there, and that keeps them open. Tips fold as well for flight deck top clearance, roof clearance area there, and that's based on the height of the average hangar deck of a British carrier. So, neat little aircraft. Of course, we have got chocks and other functions inside here, as I pressed the wrong button to get back into the cockpit. Chocks there, and we'll pop the canopy here. So we have the chocks in place. Chocks differ between the naval variants from the Royal Navy's Fleet Air Arm and this one. And it's a canopy, of course. And just in case I forgot it, trick with the door. Double click at the top to open. Double click at the bottom to close. One, and locked. If you were to, for example, click there at the bottom, you can't actually open it at the bottom, but you can open it at the top. So what would logically be is I've got it open, I'm going to close it, then I'm going to hit the latch. This tricked me up on the Mark V's. I would click there to close the latch. Nope, opens it. Double click the bottom. With that in mind, let's get our wings down here. Now, another little fun fact, you'll notice the flaps here. I can't open them right now because we've not got the hydraulics on, so we'll just get this all sorted in a second, or pneumatics I should say. So battery's on. Fuel's going to make sure that is on there. Just make sure everything is set as it should be. Mixture's good. Prop is good. Throttle is cracked. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Make sure gear is selected down. Make sure that it's set as it should be. Pop those open. And we should be able to start with a 1, 2, 3. Starts up very quickly and easily. No modelling of systems to this. It's straight up boom, boom, done. Now you can't take off or move with the chocks in place, so you have to remove those. And she will start to creep without you doing that. The brakes are on. Well, we can set the parking brakes, I should say. She'll hold. Now, flaps. Right, I was going to talk about flaps. We have an intermediate setting. This is 18 degrees of flaps. Seafires on carriers would take off with 18 degrees. They didn't have a setting for it. They had full, this, and retracted. How did they do that? They had them open and they stuck wooden pegs in there. Simple solution, very British. It's garage engineering. They stuck wooden pegs. The wooden pegs would hold the flaps open at 18 degrees for takeoff off the carrier deck. As soon as they got airborne, they'd open the flaps fully down. The pegs would fall out and they'd retract them. It's such a beautifully simple solution. Right. Now let's get ourselves moving here at Donegal and take her for a spin. I will say the sounds are not that enthralling. I'm really not that enamored with them. They're very thin and generic. I don't recall the other Spitfires from flying flight replicas being like this, but this is definitely on the mediocre side. We'll listen to it once we're in the air and get it and see what she's like there, but door is latched, gear is selected down, flaps are fully up because we're doing a land takeoff, so we don't need them. Now, I need to check my rudder trim before we go anywhere because this has a tendency to sometimes start with it on 5 degrees, which we do not want. Oh, those are our warning lights down there, of course. Now, a number of these things don't actually do anything, unfortunately, which is a little sad, but it's at least good to have them there. It doesn't appear to be a click spot for our yoke visibility. So, of course, the compass is down there. You've got that. Cover the starter buttons. There's a starter and a boost coil. You should be clicking both with one with each finger. This one obviously isn't doing that. There's a gear extension down there. Our oxygen system should be... Where's the valve there? Yep, there's the tap for the oxygen supply. Now, pilot visibility is controlled by clicking here. And you'll notice we have a lovely period pilot behind the controls who vanishes when you get close. He's shy. Let's zoom in and see him this way. There we go. Period pilot Bob. Without further ado, let's get ourselves out of here, shall we? Now I will say, I'm just going to hold the control steady here. The nose comes down very quickly, tail comes up. I'm letting her hold here. I'm not actually giving her any input to the stick. I get no torque roll, because if this was flight replicas, I'd be doing this right now and picking up the right main gear. This does not do that. So no torque over on takeoff roll, because the Spit should really try and pull you over to the side with the Merlin's engine, giving it so much torque it really wants to roll over. You almost have to control a crosswind takeoff every time. Canopy is forward and latched. See what I mean about sounds? They're very washy. Generic almost. Not that exciting. pretty aircraft, but the sounds are weak. I'll probably alias the other sounds from a slightly better sounding Spitfire. Right. Now, last time I reviewed a Spitfire from here, I did it by accidentally leaving the gear down. Now, of course, this is about £10 from the marketplace. Not a bad price for what you get. Absolutely not at all. But you do not get the weapons functioning, so none of the controls for the weapon systems work. The bombs can't be loaded on it unless you buy it from their site. There we go, coming over. Up by Donegal. Flying the Irish version today and flying in Ireland because Mr. Avangel is Irish, a Dublin lad, so represent. In fact, his pappy is from Donegal, so this felt appropriate. Let's give her a bit of a tipple. Whee! There we go. A lot of G's with that run there. We'll bring around and run down the runway length. And then we'll bring around and we'll set up for landing. We'll do the carrier style pattern with a brake, rather than it being a regular box traffic pattern. I'm not going to do it on a carrier deck because we all know by now that I suck at aircraft carriers. This isn't even a debate. I'm bad at them. So why make myself look like more of a fool on YouTube? Yes? No. We're not doing that. Now there is a version of Mark I included with the pack, so you can see the difference in the windshield on the front. But it's the same handling. There's no flight dynamics difference. They're all on the same Mark III. That's the ground. We don't want to do that. Oh, that's at least realistic. Okay, let's bring her around. And up a little bit here for the proper approach. Bring our speed down. Okay. Alright, what's our speed looking like? 160. Okay, we're downwind about parallel the field. Gears coming down. So of course we wouldn't be using that second flap stage in terms of landing. It doesn't exist in the real aircraft, we only have the two. So you give it a double tap rather than the one you'd normally give a Spitfire for landing flaps. We'll apply those once we roll final. Now she's very, very, very draggy. RuPaul levels of draggy, in fact. We do get wind noise increase. No engine noise level increase when we open the canopy, but a wind noise increase. Again, I have to keep more throttle on than I'd normally do here because it's getting very... I wonder if this will do anything. Excellent, it won't let me fold the wings in flight. That was a check. Flaps in. Okay, we're on a good approach here. We're slowing down. 90. Give it a little more power. Hold that there, actually. Little throttle. Little throttle. Little throttle. Hold her off. And touch down. Hold stick back, apply brakes evenly. So the real thing is just hold the brake paddle on the spade. And we are el stoppo. Excellent. So, takeoff, landing feel... Well, takeoff doesn't feel super realistic, obviously, with that torque impact. Landing felt very benign, gentle. A lot like the other marks they've had, of course. Overall, the aircraft is reasonably well handling, if a little on the draggy side. But it's not bad. The sounds, I think, are the biggest letdown, but for a tenner, I can't really complain. Especially to be able to have an Irish Air Corps Seafire Mark III. You got the World War II era British ones, and the French Navy one. So there's some cool options in here. If you really like Spitfires and Seafires, it's a great option to have. I certainly wouldn't necessarily drop my money on it tomorrow because I want another plane I'll fly a lot. It's cool, but if I've already got the Mark 1 or Mark 5s, I don't need it. So, nothing really super exciting of this, but it's cool to see more marks and variants of these aircraft coming out. Nice to see. I do think that's nice to see. In terms of more Spitfires, I don't know if we need any more unless we're going to go for one of the big Mark 20 somethings. That'd be quite cool to see. They were very unique. Right. And we are good there. Chocks in, please, ground crew. So what's my overall final thoughts on the Flight Replicas Seafire? I was about to say Spitfire again. Can't help myself. It's alright. Not bad. It's cool to have an Irish one. Otherwise, it's just another Spitfire in a actually incredibly inundated Spitfire market. Thanks for watching.